All right, hey there, guys. We glad you stuck around because we finally got our mics figured out. We got the show figured out. Everybody, if you're tuning in at home on live, there we've got it all figured out, and that's why I had to bring Justin Smith on today, this afternoon. So, brother, glad to have you here, man. You know, you have an amazing story. First of all, thank you for your service
Thank you.
under that one. But I want you to tell everybody because you're a small town guy
Yeah.
that have done some extraordinary things. I mean, three gold medals. I hadn't even got a gold medal in Rice Krispie treats or anything. So how did that come about?
Wow, 3 gold medals. Well, coming out of the military, I had a bucket list goal to achieve the things that I wanted to athletically. And one was track and field. I always wanted to run professionally. And so around the 2016 Olympics, I wanted to go ahead and try out for that. And a year before qualifying, I had small intestine obstruction and nearly lost my life because of it.
Right, right.
And that year of training, I wasn't even supposed to walk again for a year. Fast forward through training for the trials, I didn't quite make it because of the injury, but I did win a gold medal, my first gold medal in an indoor national meet. Um, trying to achieve the Olympic status. So
Right, right.
yeah,
And now you're mentoring youth.
yes,
Let's backtrack just a little bit because I know I'm a small town guy.
sure,
And growing up in a small town, we don't have that personal coach that can give us that little bit of edge that we need.
sure.
So talk about you really you self-taught yourself a little bit in,
Yeah,
in
yeah.
track and field. So tell us that story.
Well, growing up, I was very particular about the sports that I played with everything that I did. And I find myself injured a lot, and you didn't have too many people around you that knew exactly how to treat the injury you had.
Right.
And so I would self study, I would read. Um, a lot of my mom's sisters and aunts on my dad's side were nurses and doctors. And so I would just pick their brain. I would read the books that they had. I would just try to figure it out,
Right.
and once I did and learned my own body and learned how that worked, I started to teach it to other people because they would ask, they were like, how do you heal so fast? How do you, how
Right.
do
Well,
you
especially when
maintain?
you have something like the intestinal problem
Sure.
that's in there. Did you have some removed?
No, it was just
It's just a twisted intestine in there.
yeah. So what happened was it was pretty much a freak accident, I suppose. We still don't know what actually caused it. It usually happens to people that are obese, that are overweight. And so during my training, your intestines are always moving.
Right.
Mine stopped. So my organs, after my intestines stopped moving, my organs started to shut down. So my neighbor actually had to take me to the hospital. I didn't want to go. I tried to sleep it off, even though I was in a lot of pain. But
Right.
my body started to shut down. I don't remember too much about it. I just woke up in the hospital, and people from my church were around my bed. Um, yeah,
Right. Right. But you say it's a freak thing. This next hour, the guest that I'm going to come up here, it's not a freak thing because that little problem caused you to get into the nutrition, the value. Now you're able to mentor. You're using what
sure.
happened to you.
Yep,
Not a freak thing. God gave you something to
sure.
test you and empower you and move you forward. So talk about some of your stuff. I saw you brought in all your
Yeah.
table over there.
So that's what I took from it. I dialed in. I think it was the Lord telling me to sit down for a minute and focus in on Him and seeing how I could use that. And so learning more about my body, right, and how it um, puts out the production that I do and all the training that I do, I'm very careful about what I put into my body.
Right.
And so with this company that I partner with, Vela Vita, it helps you with all of that. Your brain, the blood flow, the recovery. We got a collagen product that helps with your skin and your teeth, and all that kind of stuff. So also we have one called Zleam that helps you with your sleep.
Right.
And with all the military stuff that I've been through, it's been hard for me to sleep. So it's one of those things that I throw into my mix that I use. So
Right. So Coach Judd,
Coach
because,
Judd.
because you're over there, you're working with Texas Wesleyan, the guys over there.
Yes. So I'm on the mentorship program there.
Right.
There at the college for the football team.
Right.
And so just helping with students in any way that I can, as far as health, nutrition, but also their mindset.
Right.
Yeah.
Under that one. But you also, if anybody's looking for private or professional, that you're willing to jump in there and give them some training, give them a little bit of your knowledge and your edge.
Sure thing. Yeah. Student athletes, speed, agility, and recovery. Recovery is my main thing. So anybody that needs it, do a lot of one-on-ones. I'm always open to schedule something to, help you out with that. So
cool. Well, what's the next step? What can we look at? Look the rest of 2023? What does that look like for Justin?
Right now we are in heavy training. I have 3 coaches. I have an athletic trainer who's helping me to continue my journey to gold for the Olympics in Paris. So we're looking forward to training to make 2024 Olympics in track and field.
Brother, you're going to do it. I know you are. Guys, Justin Smith, we're going to do it. Get ready, because I've got several amazing guests coming up this next hour. I'm glad you made it. In fact, I want to show this one right here as we get Rick ready to go.
Are you ashamed to admit that you struggle at times? That you struggle maybe with your weight? You struggle with depression. You struggle with self-worth. See, everybody struggles with something. I also struggle. People are like, you can't struggle. You're like the leader of a ministry. Oh, trust me, I struggle big time. And I'm under attack probably more than most because I am the leader. With that said, you are not alone.
Right here, Rick Smith, Rock Bottom Outreach, brother. Glad you're here, man. This is awesome. I told Rick this earlier that, I talk about I'm glad Capernaum Studios and Peaster ISD is doing this event today, and it gives me a chance to actually bring small town America there. But I wouldn't be doing this show without you. And I'm going to tell you why. And I'm not going to get emotional.
Yeah, because I'm kind of anxious to hear that too.
I'm not going to get emotional.
Know the why.
But
too.
just as I was telling Justin, God, there's no freak things. God does things for a reason. And so I'm an IFOC chaplain with Dave over there, who's part of your mentoring program.
Sure.
A couple of years ago, I'm struggling. I'm at my rock bottom, and he hands me a card. And that Rock Bottom Outreach logo is just popping. I'm like, what is this? I got to go check it out. And I go and I pop up that video on his website. I'm thinking, wow, I got to go check out this guy. So I pull up Rick's story. And I see Rick's story, and I'm thinking, man, this guy is a real person. And he's going through the same battles and problems and things that I go to. So then I have to friend him on Facebook. And you do your real talk.
Right.
And for like a week, your real talk was me. And I'm thinking, man, this guy is there. Who is he talking to? Because he is like every day. And it was what I needed to get me from hitting that. I was tiptoeing on the rocks, just trying to keep my head above water. So thank you, brother. It's something that COVID was a terrible, terrible thing. I don't want to discredit it in any way, but it also, the way God takes evil and makes it good, he opened up in what I call spiritual entrepreneurs. Paul called them apostles. Right. And brother, that's what you are. You're spreading the good news out into the world, just those little daily talks that you do, man. So thank you.
But, and it came from, I was a coach at Gainesville Youth Prison. Mm-hmm. And the kids all the time said, Coach, real talk. And of course, I'm like, what is that? And they're like, Coach, it's real transparent conversation. And so when Rock Bottom Outreach was born out of 2009, 2010, when I hear Rock Bottom, it was, God tells us to be authentic and transparent with one another. And so that became the motto, is
Right.
real talk in the real world. And so the little videos, it came. And, the scripture that we utilize is, it's good that I've been afflicted because I've learned your ways. And so when you're going through something, you're like, man, how can that be good? And at the time, it doesn't feel good. It doesn't look good, but God's at work.
Right.
And that was mine, kind of like you.
Right.
My affliction, your affliction. And it is great that, we're surrounded with celebrities and stuff like that. But how many of us can really relate to a celebrity a lot of times? So what's big for us is, I have done very well as a coach, but I'm not a celebrity. It's real people.
Well, and
Going through real stuff. Yeah.
Right. And I think it's one of those things, because also just being men,
Yeah.
we're programmed to be that alpha male. Hey, our pride factor. So not only do we have the depression, the anxiety, the stress, now I've got my pride. Who do I share? Who do I vent it to? Where do I release it? So it just continues to build up inside you. And in your case, my case, painkillers,
Yeah.
those type, alcohol, drugs, those addictions start kicking in. And you don't think, hey, well, I'm not going to share that because I got too much pride.
Right.
But I mean, I'm just telling you, when you give real talk and just say, hey, here's the situation. This is what I'm going through. Yeah. You're on your personal journey now. And we're following you with that. And that takes a lot to get out there and say, hey, here I am. I'm a real person. I'm a real sinner. So, but here I am, and this is what I'm doing.
And it's funny how we think, man, if anybody knew I sinned, they'd be ashamed of me.
Yeah.
But to know only Jesus was the one without sin. Everybody else sinned. We all struggle and fall short of the glory of God. And we need to be more transparent about that, and understanding that there's people that you can be a little vulnerable with, others you can be completely. But there's another group you really can't be vulnerable with. So you got to
Right.
be careful who you do share with.
Right.
But it's important that we don't keep things to ourselves, that we find someone that we can be somewhat vulnerable to, that relates to where we're coming from. And that's what we're about at Rock Bottom Outreach.
Actually, and I'm going to show this little clip. If y'all want to see, and I encourage everybody, go to Rock Bottom Outreach, or look up Rick.
Hey, it's Rick with the Rock Bottom Outreach, and this real talk goes to my little grandson Brock, because he told me he watches all the videos. Did not know that. And so, folks, your grandkids or your little kids may be watching your TikTok videos. So think about the content that you put on there. Just keeping it real with you. But I told him, I said, I'm going to do real talk on Balaam's donkey. Balaam in the Bible, in the book of Numbers. And, of course, he's real intrigued with that. And so I told him I would tell the story, because it's a funny story, but it's a true story. And it has to do with our own spiritual blindness. We talk about struggling sometimes, and we're struggling because God has given us the answer, but we're struggling because we want a different answer. But if we surrender to doing what God wants us to do, then he doesn't have to use extravagant measures to get our attention, i.e. the talking donkey. So it says, Balaam got up in the morning, he saddled his donkey, and he went with the Moabite officials. But God was very angry when he went. The angel of the Lord stood in the road to oppose him. Okay, now see, Balaam can't see the angel, but that donkey can. Okay, so Balaam was riding on his donkey, and his two servants were with him. When the donkey saw the angel of the Lord standing in the road with the drawn sword in his hand, he turned off the road into the field. Balaam beat that donkey to get back on the road. Then the angel of the Lord stood in a narrow path through the vineyards with walls on both sides. When the donkey saw the angel of the Lord again, okay? And it said, when the donkey saw the angel of the Lord, he lay down under Balaam, and he was so angry that Balaam is beating that donkey again. He's like, man, what are you doing, you stupid donkey? But again, the donkey can see what Balaam cannot see. And so it continues. And it says, then the Lord opened the donkey's mouth, and he said to Balaam, the donkey said, he said, what have I done to you to make you beat me these 3 times? Balaam answered the donkey, "You made a fool of me. If only I had a sword in my hand, I would have killed you right here." The donkey said to Balaam, "And I'm not your donkey, which you've always ridden to this day? Have I been in the habit of doing craziness?" He said, "No." He said, "Then the Lord opened Balaam's eyes, and he saw the angel of the Lord standing in the road with his sword drawn. So he bowed down and he fell face down." And so obviously, the angel's like, "Man, why do you keep being your donkey?" And so a lot of times God will use certain situations to get our attention. It could be a talking donkey. I don't know. But again, if you're struggling with something, tap out, give God what he wants. You can breathe again. Watch those.
Yeah, I wanted to show y'all that. I wanted to show you that because you do those every day. You throw just like 3 minutes.
Yeah.
But just as he said in the front of that, his grandkids pointed that out to him. And one of the things right now with all this social media, here we are, we're broadcasting live in front of 3 different channels. We're here with y'all. If it's not inspiring, motivational, or educational, then why are we even watching it or messing with it? There is so much out there the media wants you to see. There's so much the Hollywood wants you to do. But, man, that's just 3 minutes that is planting a seed or making you stop and think. How many donkeys do we have in our lives every day that we'd rather complain about them being a donkey instead of really listening to what they're trying to tell us?
Yeah, and God, he tries to get our attention. I know with me, and you have to understand a lot of times you're struggling with something. And if you'll just tap out to say, "God, I give up," it won't be nearly as painful. You don't all have to go to rock bottom, but he wants you to tap out at some point. All to you, I surrender. That's tapping out. That's what we're talking about. And so it's called a struggle because you're wrestling with it still and you're struggling with it. And so whatever you're struggling with today, man, if you'll tap out and give it to God, like Justin said, I'm doing a daily journey, with what I'm going through.
Right.
And I could struggle with myself and try to inspire the world along with that, because there's somebody else here today, maybe that's struggling with an illness like I am, and they need to know, hey, you're not alone, because no one likes to hear someone complain about being ill.
Right.
But you're not alone. And so trying to use that as well.
Right. And I just popped that up there. So weatherfordchristian.com, you can go to the shop. They're doing a fundraiser, the Cowboy Up shirts, the Rick Smith Cowboy Up shirts.
Yes, sir.
So if anybody interested in that, do you just kind of want to explain what you're going through? Because you're sharing the journey with us, and we want to be there with you.
Well, back in 2008, when I hit rock bottom, I suffered congestive heart failure. And they kind of sent me down, said you probably won't grow old. And it was called stress-induced cardiomyopathy. And so in 2010, they actually had to put in a pacemaker and a defibrillator. And so it's called the ejection fraction, which 60 is good. And mine is plummeted all the way down to 10. And so basically my heart's not working anymore. It's going off of the medication, but it's not working anymore with the medication. So they've sent me to UT Southwestern to the transplant division. And so that is what is next. They're doing all the testing now to get me on the transplant list so that I can get a new heart. And so, man, I am dependent right now on Christ alone. I'll be honest with you. Mm-hmm. The tricks I used to use don't work. The medication's not working. I'm going to keep sharing the gospel till obviously God calls me home. But again, trying to encourage somebody else that's going through something as well, man. And Zach, I appreciate you sharing that. Means a lot to me, and it really does. So anyway, with the medical expenses, if y'all wondering, a new heart is about $1.5 million now. If y'all are shopping for one, just so y'all know. So I'm $1.5 million short right now. Hoping they got a Groupon.
Yeah. But like I said, we're following along with you. Just go Rick Smith, Rock Bottom Outreach. And follow along, because you're doing the daily journey, and we're walking right with you. We're praying with you, and we're going to be right there with you the whole time, brother. Right. I thank you for coming to Small Town America.
And I
thank you for doing it.
Thank you.
I know that one. I'm going to bring on another one, guy. We're going to get ready. We're going to bring T-Ron in.
That man is the man Coach Simply with Freedom Friday, Freedom Friday, Freedom Friday. Right at the gate, you are a masterpiece. You are a masterpiece. You are a masterpiece. Regardless of what others say about you, you're a masterpiece. Regardless of what others think about you, you're a masterpiece. Regardless of what others say behind your back, you're a masterpiece. Well, you're probably saying, well, help me out, Simply. I'm so glad you said that. Here's what you and I must understand. Everything that we desire in life, everything that we want to achieve, everything that we want to become is already in us. We are stopping ourselves because of the fact that we have taken the focus on the wrong direction, and therefore we cannot unleash the beast that's truly inside of us. And so now you have to unleash the beast in order so that you can see the masterpiece. You must tell yourself, I am great. I am phenomenal. When you get up in the morning, bad breath and all, tell yourself, I am a champion. I am a winner, because let me share this with you. The great ones do it. The overcomers do it. The people that make it happen, do it. Let me share this with you before I let you go. This is no coincidence that a gentleman that they said couldn't even read in elementary school has authored 3 books. Succeeding when others don't want you.
Hey, that's Ron Hicks Simply Badd.
Wow.
Brother, I'm glad you're on. I'm glad you're here.
Man, I am glad to be here. When I say ecstatic about life, I am. I really am. You know, I listened to Coach and I listened to Justin, you know, and I'm sitting here and I'm like, man, boy, we have an amazing God that can bring you through an amazing storm. But the most important thing that we must remember in all this, don't quit.
Exactly.
Don't
Well,
quit.
that's what I was saying. Justin saying a freak accident. There's nothing freak. God's got a plan.
Yeah.
Even though we seem like it's a bad deal,
Right.
He's got a plan. He knows what He wants to do for us.
Man.
But and let's just go back.
Okay.
Let's just go all the way back.
Okay.
Because you're in Texas. This is Von Erich country.
Von Erich country.
This is Von Erich country.
Von Erich country.
But you grew up Indiana, right?
I grew up in Kentucky.
Kentucky.
So
So-
I was prevalent to the Jerry Lawler.
Mm-hmm.
Now, here's the neat caveat. The Junkyard Dog and his son taught me how to wrestle back in, and I can honestly say this now, 1994, almost 30 years ago,
Wow.
in Nashville, Tennessee. And this is coming from, and if we're gonna go back, let's go back a little bit further.
Let's go. No, we want to find the Simply Badd story. Let's go.
All right, well, the Simply Badd story is just this simple. I was once a victim of bullying.
Mhm.
And in order to go to see the pro wrestling events, now mind you, I'm the youngest of 5 from a single parent home. And so mom said the only way that you can go to wrestling is that you had to do your chores and stay out of trouble. And that could be a little caveat every now and then, you know, we'll just call it that. So, but this one particular Tuesday night, I got a chance to meet my hero, which is Rocky Soulman Johnson,
Mhm.
who is the
Mhm.
father of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Mhm. Mhm.
So the very next week, I got a chance to sit down and talk to Rocky for a few minutes. And Rocky told me, he said, the key, I asked him, what is the key to success? He said, you write down your dreams and goals, and that's what you become.
Right.
So every day, so I went home and I wrote down that I wanted to stop being bullied by the age of 13. I wanted to be a successful pro wrestler. After wrestling, I wanted to be a champion against bullying. Now, mind you, I'm only 7 years old writing this stuff down.
Right.
You know, and it's probably not the best handwriting, but I knew what it said and I knew what it meant. So the bullying stopped at 12. You know, a few clotheslines, a few chicken wings.
Mhm.
Brothers got the message, you know, and everybody, you know. So then the wrestled in high school, and the coach told me, he said, this is how this is going to be. That freshman stuff you did, we're not having it. You're either going to win, you're going to listen and win, or you out. And nobody put it like that since mama. So you
Right.
had to
Right.
roll.
Right.
You know, so I went on one state. Then I was got a chance to, you know, like I said, JYD Jr. and JYD taught me how to wrestle. Well, the night of the promotion, they said, hey, what's your name? I said, it's Simply Badd, Mr. Ron. They said, we're going to drop that Mr. Ron. We're going to keep Simply Badd. And, well, how did Simply Badd come about? Being the youngest of 5, you can sometimes be Simply Badd. And so my mom gave me that name, and I stuck with that name. And now I'm just a champion for our children. I'm champion for our youth. I'm champion for our community. And I just know that this is where God has me running and making things happen.
Right, right. So, but 19 times? Is it
19
19-time world
champ-
champion?
19-time world
I got to do it. I got a mic. 19-time world champion, Simply Badd.
Thank you. Thank you. And what's crazy is that I still have to do chores at the house.
Yeah.
You know, when you walk in, the wife says, you know, that big headism that you go through,
Right.
Leave Simply Badd at the front door.
Right. Well, and on the same deal, that's why we had Rick, and like I said, you know, as bad as COVID was, these spiritual entrepreneurs. In fact, I want to show another one. I have to go to y'all's Facebooks and stuff and pull this stuff off.
Oh, wow.
That man, yo, here we go with that Friday flow. It's your man, Coach Simply, Teron Hicks with Freedom Friday, Freedom Friday, Freedom Friday. And right out the gate, the mirror don't lie. The mirror don't lie. The mirror don't lie. And I'm telling you, just like you're listening to me, go look in the mirror and it's only going to tell you the truth. The mirror don't lie. The champion that you really desire to be is in the mirror. The overcomer that you desire to be is in the mirror. The person that you know that can excel in life is in the mirror. When you look in the mirror, you tell yourself that I am championship material. I am great. I am phenomenal. I'm that, and I'm that, and I'm that. And you must remind yourself when you look in the mirror that you are those things, because I'm going to tell you, just like this, coming from a man that was broken, that was hurt, that was just, you know, abused and been through the mills and never allowed myself to stay down. When you look in the mirror and it tells you the truth, tell yourself, I'm not going to stay where I'm at. I'm only getting better. And then you tell yourself, I am better than I was yesterday. I'm better than I was last month. I'm better than I was a year ago. I'm better than I was 10 years ago. And I'm only getting better because of who I am and who I see in the mirror. I am better. I'm not bitter. I'm better. And I want you to understand that regardless of what you go through, regardless of the storms, regardless of what it is, tell yourself when you look in the mirror, I am great. I am phenomenal.
There you go.
Wow.
I am better. I am better. You know, but that's the thing. You know, now we have all of this media, all this technology, all these platforms. In 2 to 3 minutes, who did you just inspire that says, "Hey, I do need to look in the mirror, and I need to not listen to what everybody else is saying, and know that I am. God made me the way I am."
And I do that. And being a father, you know, I've got 2 teenagers, and being this, because I'm not proclaiming it, it's facts. I'm America's #1 life coach. And the reason why I say I'm America's #1 life coach is because when you have students that were once incarcerated and they come back to you and they say, thank you for not giving up on me. Then when you have a student that the district had gave up on because the kid wasn't working, but I wouldn't give up on. And so now the student is getting ready to graduate from college, you know, and then you have, you know, so it's like, I want to share with them, because God hasn't given up on us. So if he hasn't given up on us, what gives us the right to give up on them?
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. You know, the other day, God really put it on my heart, because, you know, we don't think about God's math.
Okay.
Have you ever thought about where does that 3 and 1 come? Where does that 3 and 1 come? We're the one.
We're the one.
We're the one. If
Right.
we have a Father above us, we have Jesus inside us, and a Holy Spirit around us. Where do they all meet?
Right here.
Right here. Right here. So that 3 and 1, and I was like, oh my gosh, I am the one. I'm the one that God has picked. And so what's next? So you got the book out.
So this is my Succeeding When Others Don't Want You to. And when I say this is that book, I'm not, because we were talking about COVID, but when we had froze it, I had to write this book. And then because I didn't have power, I want you to know that when I say I didn't have power, I had to go old school. All I had was a gas stove. We had steam heat and had to shut off everything. And I was like, let me put on some sweats and finish this book, because I had a commitment to the publisher. So we got the book done, Succeeding When Others Don't Want You to. When I say this is a phenomenal book, and I'm not saying because I'm the author,
Right.
I'm saying that when you have a kid that graduated from high school and they called you back and they're like, you know what, this is the reason why I'm able to get through this geography class, because you told me I can't quit. And you told me that college is an opportunity of a lifetime, and that there is no color in success.
Right.
The only color in success is you working hard.
Yes.
That's, so book tours, book signings, running for school board in Louisville. Yes, running for school board. I know that I just want to continue to be our champion. Everybody has a calling.
Right.
I'm a champion for our children, and I'm going to continue to champion for them. May 6th, I'm going to win it. I'm just putting it out there. Life in Proverbs 18.
There you go.
Proverbs 18:21. Life and death is spoken in the power of the tongue. I only speak life into what I desire. And but if you're listening and you're watching, I want to share this with you. And I know we're getting ready to go.
No, River.
Philippians 4:13 should be your clutch. Should be your clutch, because there are times that we go through stuff and why me? Why me? Why not me? Why not me?
Why not?
That's the question you ask yourself. Why not me? And then you were talking about math and you threw me off because I know God is a multiplier.
Exactly.
Where you have one struggle, it sometimes multiplies into different struggles. But just think, his blessings multiply.
You go back and you look at Isaiah when he was hungry. He went to the widow woman. He says, "What do you have?
What do you have?
What do you have? I'm going to multiply.
I'm going to multiply."
Use Jesus when he had to feed all those. What do you have?
I'm
going
a
to
multiplier.
multiply. He's a multiplier.
So if
He
you're
will do
going
it.
through something, don't worry about it, because your blessings are getting ready to multiply.
Exactly.
Exactly. And
Cool.
and we're going to speak a healing over Coach. He's healed and restored right
And
now. in the
already
name of
done.
Jesus.
Already done.
And just thank you, bro. When I say thank you so much for having me come, I was like, honey, I gotta take a break from the honey-do list because I've got to go be with my brother. And she says, "All right, go get out of here."
Well, okay. Well, I guess I'll owe her a dinner or something to get you out of the house. But man, I am so glad that you made it down here.
Yes, sir.
Your bullying program, so
It-
that's available for schools or mentors
It's
or anybody.
school. It's if you go to simplybadd.com, you get a chance to really hone in on who I am, and that's Simply Badd with 2 D's. Simplybadd.com. Go, and then you get a chance to not only find out the anti-bullying, but we have an incredible mentor program. It's called SB Life Coaching.
Right.
And so what I challenge everyone to understand that regardless of where you are now, this isn't your final destination.
Exactly.
And so you write down your dreams and goals and you go make it happen. And that's what you're going to have.
God's got a bigger plan.
God's got a bigger
He knows
plan.
what you're going to
He's
do.
a multiplier.
Hey, man, so we finally got this figured out. I'm actually going to show the intro to what Small Town America, the show, is going to be about. And then I'm going to surprise and get Dale Long up here to close this out. But let me show you. This is the intro to what the show is going to be.
Hi, I'm Zach Kepple, host of Small Town America, the show that features you, hardworking Americans that make this nation great. We're looking for the shade tree mechanics that's restoring the classics, the backyard grillers that's creating all the magic. Looking for small business owners that still make their products right here in the good old US of A. We're looking for first responders, veterans, and hometown heroes. So get in the truck. Let's go see Small Town America.
Yeah, well, there it is. That's the show intro. Yeah, if you now that we got the mics working, you can probably hear me. So if you didn't hear the story earlier, in September of 2013, I had the opportunity to sell the concept of Small Town America to a major network, and that would have been taking a nice check and giving them the name and probably having my name as creator at the bottom of the show. And at the very last minute, God said, "Hey, don't do it." And so all the contracts and everything went in a folder and in a box. And that's where it's kind of lived for the last 10 years. But just as we're talking about, nothing's a freak accident. God has put me for the last 12 years in the film industry and is also opening these doors that we can now go live and podcast, and we can all do this on our own. We can put the positive message out there. You think about Rick Smith, T-Ron, those are just 3-minute clips a day that's positive, educational, informative. But I'm a small town guy. I grew up in the small town, and every small town has that interesting person in that interesting place that everybody wants to talk about. And so just to show up and say, what do you have? The stories tell themselves because everybody wants to brag and show off. And not a guy that likes to brag, but you're right over here in Azle, small town of Azle.
Correct.
But you're doing big things over there. You're doing the horse therapy with the veterans. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing over at Western Cross.
Well, basically, we worship God.
There you go.
Everything I do in my life is God, country, and family. As a military veteran, as a son of a military veteran, I've experienced the sacrifice of what it takes to serve this country and nation. So have my fellow brothers and sisters that have served out there. We talk more about that than just that at Western Cross. We also talk about the families that are affected by the cost of service, because we talk about the 22 suicides. We talk about how the veterans are coming out and not being taken care of. We don't talk about how it affects the children of veterans. We don't talk about how it affects the spouses, the family members. Western Cross is a faith-based organization. Like several of my cohorts around me, where I'm a chaplain for Cowboys of Christ. It was a calling. It's a mission. I tell people it started out as a passion of mine, and then I said it became a purpose. And I said, well, it kind of became a mission, and now God has made it a ministry. So basically, what we do is we help those find a way to heal. One of the most powerful ways to do that is by therapy. And I've got some of the most expensive, incredible therapists you could ever imagine. They're beautiful animals called the horse, and they do all the work. And I'm blessed just to be able to hold the other end of the lead rope while they do all the magic that they do with people that are hurting deep inside. Winston Churchill said it best. He said, the outside of a horse is good for the inside of a man or a woman. It's because they have mystical, magical powers. We know in the Bible that when Jesus comes back, what's he coming on? A big old white horse. Mm-hmm. That's because they are majestic creatures, and they really, really can touch your soul. And so we focus on that at the ranch. We make sure that everybody comes, knows that it's a safe haven, that we are here. We will help them. We're open armed. We charge nothing for our program. Doesn't cost anybody a cent, whether you're a veteran, a child, a spouse, if you're law enforcement. I even help the 4-H club. I also, at the ranch, we say yes and amen. There was a group of widows that asked me if they could come out and talk to me, and we said yes and amen and introduce them to the horse. And it's just a fabulous mission that I walk on. It's by His grace. I'm a broken guy like everybody else. I have a lot of demons that I've had to deal with over my life. And the best way to deal with those is through Christ.
Right. But and I know because I've had a chance to work with some of the horse therapy under that, and I think sometimes it's more. I need the therapy more than they do.
Amen.
Under that one, and sometimes I'm just totally amazed when you have somebody who could be totally fearful of an animal that they don't want to get, but you'll see that horse and that person, they'll just hug each other. And you see that horse put that over their shoulder, and it's just a hug, and you can see that change. It's just amazing, just the presence, what it does to people. and especially now, I mean, you probably know the numbers better than I do, but stress, anxiety, depression is up like 50% over this time last year. What is it you need? Can you use volunteers? Can you, what, I mean,
Well, that's easy.
yeah, you got to feed those animals. So
I tell people the three ways to get involved with Western Cross Ranch is this. One, we can always use donations because those little suckers like to eat and they're not cheap. But the other way is volunteers. I mean, if you have a passion to help veterans or people in general, there's a couple options. One, you can just come out to the ranch and help us maintain the ranch. It takes a lot of muscle and work to maintain a herd of horses. They need to be clean. They need to be groomed. They need to be fed. They need to be, just everything. They are the most needy animals out there. But the other way is also volunteers that want to work with the veterans is what we call wranglers. These are people that go through the program and actually learn how to work through the obstacles and the different sessions that we do. They get to a level that we're confident, and then they go, when we have a veteran, we put a veteran and a horse and a wrangler together to work in harmony to get through whatever they're trying to achieve for the day. And then the other way we always need is, we need support. We need people to get the word out, the message. Help us tell veterans and families of veterans and children that there's a place that's a safe haven. There's a place that speaks God's language through the horse to help you realize that life is better than you can imagine. I mean, the promises of what God and Jesus offer us is all right there on the ranch with what the horses do. We struggle daily out there. We're a new fledgling 501 nonprofit. I will tell everybody this: every dollar that comes into Western Cross goes into the operations. There are no salaries. I've got 8 salaried people or 8 salaried things, and they're horses. I pay them in feed is what we pay them in, but nobody else gets paid out there. It's all 100% a passion to help others heal.
Right.
And we use our tagline, if you will, is where esprit de corps lives and healing begins. And esprit de corps in the military means a brotherhood, a family. And that's what we are out there.
Right. And a lot of times, when we say like, follow, and share, support one another, it's not just there, but it's also just letting people know you have a place to come to.
Amen.
That's the thing. It's, hey, I love Dale and I love what he does, but I also want to know Dale will help you. And so if you need help, just like what I was talking with Rick earlier about, sometimes as guys, we don't realize that we have a place to go to.
We do. And we offer that there. And the other thing I told a couple today was have horse will travel. See, these are mobile. They'll actually move. And so I'll load them up in a trailer with the panels to put a round pin in and take the horse to you and show you what we do. If you've got children in a school or a facility or a program that needs a little bit of love, needs to find out the magical, healing powers of a horse, I'll take them to you. If you're looking for a guest speaker that'll come and talk about the sacrifice of service and family and God, I'll come out, and I don't know if they'll let me bring him on stage, but I'll bring a horse out to wherever that is. I'll come and do a presentation. I'll come and talk to any veterans group, any family group, any Christian or faith-based group that needs a little bit of, that little bit of extra, that God loves you and so do I kind of message.
We'll do it. So westerncross.com?
westerncrossranch.org.
Ranch.org.
O-R-G.
Okay, westerncrossranch.org. Dale, I appreciate you being here, brother.
You, brother.
Under
Thank
that
you
one,
much.
I'm going to show this little deal, and then I'm going to get Jerry Ward up here. Come on up, Jerry. Come on up. We wait all day. We got this stuff working. We're going to interview everybody today.
Well, I didn't get my cheat sheet, so I don't know what's going to
No, I know. I was going to blow you out. JC's Quick Mart, guys. This is Peaster, Texas. Small town America. Small town America. I told you there's always the people and places that make America great. And you have one of those places right here in Peaster, Texas. What made you want to build it? Because you're not just the Quick Mart. You got a grill inside there.
Mm-hmm.
probably all the farmers in town come there and eat breakfast. So you get to all the agricultural report. You're like the local almanac. You're doing Bible studies over there. You do a little, you're like the town hall of Peaster.
Well, we get a lot of chatter. So, well, your first question is what got me into this?
Right.
I'm married to her.
Hey.
I'm married to Chantel Ward. She's the C of JC Quick Mart. I'm Jerry. We just kind of, it just, well, the way we were, each of us was doing doing a business inside this same type industry and this entity. And we just kind of formed back into just building one ourselves. And we put the building there, but the community built it. And we appreciate every one of y'all for doing that.
Well, I know because you constantly support. You can go in there. You can get the Alito T-shirts, get the Capernaum T-shirt. You are the one. It's not just a Quick Mart. I mean, it is the place, and everybody said, "Hey, just go buy JC's." But that's what small town America is all about. As we travel around, we look for those places like what Jerry and Chantel has over there. You are the people and places that make these communities. You give the communities. It's part of what these organizations are. Is when we all band together and work together, how much better everything is.
Yes.
And so I want to thank you for that. That's pretty much is going to close out the show. Thank you for coming on. I'm going to get in the truck. We don't know where we're going to next.